Hello! Yes, this is not the same setup, and it's not going to be the permanent setup either. There's echo, cameras in a stupid place, you can see mic, everything's dog shit. But there's a temporary thing, you're just going to have to deal with it for a couple of videos until everything behind the camera that I can't show is done effectively. Everything's under construction, it'll be fine, chill out, we'll be back soon. You should like, subscribe, so I can pay my mortgage off. And let's get in there. There's some big old games this weekend and this midweek. Honestly, such a gorgeous background, so much going on. Preston versus Blackburn on Friday night. Blackburn, yeah, they're just fry made. I'm not going to lie. I cannot get a grip on them at all. When I think they'll win, they'll lose. And when I think they'll lose, they'll win. So, what do I do here? The one thing that I would say is in the loss to Blackburn, I didn't think they were that crap. I think international may become quite a good time for them after that loss at home. And they are quite poor at home, Blackburn, anyway. I think they're one of them teams that are much better away and pick a lot of the points up away. They perform better away. I think they just are suited to being underdog and not expected to win. Obviously, the defence were getting ragged by Morris and Agyeman, but it's going to do because he had Ryan Edges at left centre-back. I don't know what's going on there. I think it's sometimes overcomplicating things, and that is not his male strength at all. The main attribute of him is the simplicity side of things, and I think that'd suit Blackburn, and it will get them results if they stick to that, but they just didn't against Derby, and I don't really know why. Obviously, coming away to Preston is a very tough fixture this season. They've won 3 out of the last 4 games, obviously got a draw away at Millwall before international break. It was a good finish from Smith, that as well, and a keeper clanger. But I think a lot of people look at this and say a Preston win, and probably a fairly easy one as well. I do think that is what a lot of people are go for here. But that is what's making me lean towards Blackburn, if anything. I don't want to come in here and think, oh, Preston, it's 2 ex-Bowser boys and all Eke and his male. I don't want it to think, oh yeah, Preston will just win this easily. It'll be a walking park, Blackburn are crap. Preston are obviously quite good, the 4th at minute. This is a top 6 chaser versus a relegation threatened side. It should be a walking park for home side. But that makes me think that Blackburn will get something. And for that reason and that reason alone, because my logic don't work with Blackburn half the time, I'm going to go Preston 1, Blackburn 1. I do think they will get something just because they shouldn't. Bristol City and Swansea. Is this a derby? It's a little bit of something in it. I think Bristol likes to get involved with South Wales boys. And again, going back to it with the Blackburn side of things, I think probably a good time for international break for both these teams. Bristol City have started so well. They're in 8th, which really isn't that bad, considering. Obviously, they got top 6 last season, but historically, they're just not up to the standard of a lot of other sides that you'd expect to finish up there. So they're doing really well so far. It was thanks to a fantastic start because they've not won in the last 3 games. They conceded 5 at Stoke and then lost at home to Blackburn. Got a point away at Watford, which isn't that bad. And Swansea were... Well, I said it a few weeks ago. Swansea have been sleepwalking into relegation for last couple of months. Like, they started all right. In fact, they had quite a fast start. And transfer window, I'll keep going back to this with Swansea because I think they've spent a decent bit of brass this time. They're always one that's punched quite far above the mean. Swansea, I don't think they're historically our championship side. They don't really have the championship budget or attendances or anything like that. They're never in any sort of danger, ever. If anything, as a Swansea fan, or even just as a neutral, if you're looking at Swansea and think, they're going to get out of this division, you're thinking they're going upwards, aren't you, if anything? And nobody really thinks Swansea are a genuine contender to go down ever, which I think is testament to how good they run. But they needed to sack Sheehan, and I'm glad they've done it now, because if they'd have kept it on for a bit longer, they'd have been at bottom 3 by the time they'd have sacked him anyway. They're lucky, to a certain extent. I think a lot of teams are lucky that the bottom teams are just as crap as they are. They both have an S postcode. This is just an onker. I don't think Swansea have got a manager in, unless I've completely missed something in the international break, or at the time of me recording this. I'm recording it quite early at the time it goes out. Nah. So there's no manager bounce. I can't give them anything like that. The crap away from home. Bristol City equally aren't rate cracking at home. So again, I might just lead the same way as I did with last game. I'm going to go for another draw. If anything, I'd probably go for a Bristol City win, lean that way, because Swansea do just look hopeless in every area of pitch, effectively, apart from net. So I'll go Bristol City 1, Swansea 1, and I think that'll be a cracking point for Swansea. But if they get a manager in time, then honestly, it's just up in the air, isn't it? Charlton and Southampton. Unfortunately, this is a very easy choice for me. A very easy choice. I think Charlton are a really good side. They've handled the step up fantastic. The 9th in division, they're playing the same style as they did last season. It's not been a problem for them. Really, really cracking season so far for them. And Nathan Jones is a really good gaffer. Maybe, actually, now that I've just said that, because obviously he's the next Southampton gaffer in it, maybe Nathan Jones is going to have a little bit of bite in this. But I think he's always got that anyway. That's something you can never accuse Nathan Jones of, not being up for game. Like you could maybe say about some other guys. I always think Jones is up for it. I always think Charlton are. Maybe going back to it again, I think this has come at a bad time for him, international break. Because they finally started putting a couple of wins together. They were scoring some goals, a little bit more freedom going forward. I do think nothing has almost changed, really. with Southampton. I do think they're still playing the exact same way as they were doing with Will Still. I think players have just been a little bit more clinical now. I think you're unlucky, Will Still, with the timing of everything, because he is a good manager. But I think Southampton come here to a place that's really difficult, and has been so far this season. I think they've lost once, and it was to Leicester. Yeah, and that was a screamer. Even going back into last season, Charlton have been incredible at home. The form is mental. It don't go back further than this, the site that I'm using in a minute. But since the 25th of January, they have dropped points 4 times. Once we're in League One, they won about 15 games out of 16 at home in League One. It was crazy towards the end. They've lost to Leicester, drawn with Millwall, drawn with Swansea. But they don't concede loads of goals. They've only lost to Leicester. They're obviously a very good team. And to be fair, speaking about it, I'm going to come in here and say, like, easy Southampton win. But Southampton have not won here since 1990. Since then, Charlton have won 3 times, and every other game has been a draw. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to go Charlton 1, Southampton 1. I'm going to go for 3 on the bonds. I thought I was going to come in for a Southampton easy win, but I'm clearly not. I'm going to go Charlton 1, Southampton 1. Covered baggies. This is easy. This might be the easiest fixture on here so far. You've got a last man standing. I take no liability for anything that goes on in last man standing if you choose my picks. But I am 100% nailing it on Coventry because West Brom are hopeless. Mason's wank. I'm not bothered that they got the win against Oxford. I literally don't care. They were losing to a side that looks fairly destined for a bottom 5 finish in Oxford at home. Yes, West Brom played quite well, and that is the first time that I probably look at them and think they've played well and probably did deserve a win. But across the full season so far, and in the bits that I've seen in West Brom, they are shit. Awful. Tactically inept. Look naff all going forward, which was a strong point of them last season in terms of the chances created. Everything were really filtered towards number 9 getting a lot of chances. Wingers weren't having a lot of shots, so were primary creators last season for West Brom. And now I just think everybody's a creator and they've got no bite up front. Probably because they've got Maggio on bench because Mason's a turnip. Like mixing all that together and then thinking, oh, by the way, you're going away at best side ever in Championship who scored 500 goals in 10 games or whatever it is. Yeah, all right, good luck, lads. It's just, this is nailed on Sky Blue winning it, surely. I would put my house on this. I won't. This is not financial advice. Don't come back to me. But I'm going to say an easy Coventry win. And to be honest, I think they'll slap them up a little bit. West Brom don't concede loads, but they've also not played Coventry. So I'll go Coventry 3. West Brom 0. I don't think they'll even scrape surface getting a sniff of Coventry's net. And I think Coventry will just batter them a little bit. So I'll go Cov 3, West Brom 0. Brummy Boys and Norwich. Again, Norwich have sacked the manager. Liam Manning is gone. I don't think they've got a gaffer either. A lot of them are taking a while. Like Southampton and Norwich. I've seen O'Neill's name like floating in around it. Obviously, by the time this goes out, it might be done. They might have somebody in. But Birmingham at home were so incredibly dominant against anybody. And that is a consistent theme. I saw some stat and some graph thing. On any graph so far, right, if you see Coventry, you want to be next to Coventry because they're just meant to everything. And right next to them were Birmingham and Ipswich, like smack next to each other, which is 2 sides that dominate a lot of games. They've not been getting rubber green a lot, and they've not been getting results that the performances probably deserve. But Birmingham and Ipswich, specifically at home, dominate every single game that they've played, more or less, is what that's showing me. And at home to Norwich, who've been awful so far, have picked their only points at season away, in fairness. But Birmingham at home drew Ipswich first game. They drew with Wednesday, to be fair, and then they lost to Hull. But every other game they've won. The last 2 games at home, they won 4-0 in both of them against Pompey and Millwall. 2 sides that are showing much more and are clearly much better sides than Norwich at the minute. I don't quite think it'll be 4-0 because I think Norwich, whoever like interim currently is, you'd expect them to tighten it up a little bit and just think, let's not go and get tonked, you know what I mean? We'll just plod on by a little bit until we get a manager in. I don't think they'll go and be really open and easy to break and just have loads of chances against. I think they will be a bit sturdier about Norwich, but I still think Birmingham win. Like, fairly comfortably again. This could be another banker, really, for last man standing if anybody's on that. I'll go Brom 2, Norwich 0. But I just... It should be easy, which is a dangerous thing to think anyway. Derby Watford. Again, international break. Really onking timing for Derby, who'd won 5 in a row before this. They're up to 10th, now looking upwards rather than down. They're only 2 points off playoffs after such a crap start, Derby. I really like Eustace. I really like them going forward, Derby. They've got odd player of good quality, I think you could say, in certain positions. Some of them are toss, I'm not going to lie to you. But the overwhelming quality at Derby, I do think, is a decent standard. I guess the Watford team that... Sort of every game that goes by, I think they're looking better. Losers obviously fantastic. That don't need saying anymore. We've been way ahead of the curve with that. Just all season has been fantastic. But now I obviously don't know the Watford medical bill off the top of my head. But I just think sure that Georgian fella's close to being back now. Some other lads that they've got really good players are coming back. It can only get better for Watford really. For a side that has started poorly, sacked the manager obviously. Now the 15th, they're well away from danger. If anything, with some of the calibre of player that they've got, you're thinking that way again. If anything. But I don't know. I can't really bring myself to say that Derby will win. Mainly because of the psychological side of things. Yes, you've won 5 in a row, but I think the break is really going to hurt something like this. It's took Derby quite a while to get going. And as soon as they have done, which obviously they've won 5 in a row, it's fantastic. But as soon as they've come into this really good form, it's like, right, international break, stop what you're doing, chill out, we're not having fun anymore. I just don't think it'll be as easy as when they're playing Saturday, Tuesday, and then you have a 2-week break. I think it's hard to just sort of get back into rhythm of things straight away. I'm going to go in another draw. I'll put a bit more goals on it this time just to get a bit of something in this video. I'll go Derby 2, Watford 2. We'll have a Desi. Ipswich and Wrexham. Now, on the surface of it, and just my principles and what I've been saying all season, effectively, this, again, should be an absolute doddle for home side, really. I don't think personnel-wise, it is a million miles away. Wrexham have spaffed so much money at Wall, you expect them to be doing a lot better than what they are. I think that's a common theme and something that I will probably say until the season finishes if they're not inside top 6. I do think that is just a consistent thing with Wrexham. I expect more from them because you know what they can do. Same as Ipswich, but they're sort of chipping away a little bit more now, putting teams to sword a bit more. But I do think it's quite a tough one because Wrexham have been picking up. You know what it is? I can't quite give Wrexham the credit they deserve, I don't think. Because recently they have been playing well. I just don't think I can give them it just yet. Because I still think Parky will get sacked. And I'm sort of like in two minds. I think Parky will get sacked. I think Wrexham will do well. They are doing well. And it's like, where do I stand in all this? I don't think they'll come and win away at Ipswich. If we just keep it and talk about what's smack in front of his nose here. I don't think Wrexham come and win away at Ipswich. But I also think that Wrexham's form recently has been pointing towards a side that's clearly on up. And in blocks of 5 on games, they've got better. The first 5 games they were crap. Second 5 games, they were sort of a bit better. And last 5, they've been a lot better. They're on an upwards trajectory in terms of how they're playing every game as it goes by. A bit like Watford, I guess you could say as well. And more recently, Derby. But I just don't think they come away to Ipswich and win. I've got to keep it real. I think Ipswich are a very good team. Wrexham have got 3 draws in the last 4 away from home, to be fair, and they've only lost once away from home all season, which was the Southampton first game. And in first half, they were alright in that. Anybody trying to rewrite history, trying to tell you that Wrexham deserved it from that Southampton game is lying. But I thought that for Steph, they were alright. So to have only lost once all season, away to Stoke, who obviously a really, really good side, the third in table, I think it's going to take somebody like Ipswich to beat them. And I think they will. I'm going to get a close one. I don't think Ipswich will run away with it because it could be a good game, this. But I'll get Ipswich 2, Wrexham 1. And there's a lot of quality on show there. It'll be a good game for a neutral to watch if it weren't at 3 o'clock. Leicester and Stoke. I mean, Cifuente's got a really needed win away at Norwich before international break, 2-1. And I think that's probably the best I've seen them play in a while, Leicester. They actually created some decent chances. They weren't just pressing B button from edge of box as soon as they got there. They're just trying to work it in, create some decent chances. But you are playing a super team, unfortunately for you. I don't know if this is a derby. Well, maybe I'm a complete idiot. It'd be like me saying Donny and Harrogate's a derby just because they're both classed as Yorkshire. Do you know what I mean? It might be one of them ones. They could be miles away, these two. I think they are, maybe. I don't know. I'm just waffling. I just think, right, the Stoke and Coventry was such a 0-0. Like, obviously, Coventry ended up winning from a Mason Clark scissor kick, overhead kick thing. That were gorgeous, by the way. But that was such a 0-0 game, and I think both went out for a draw and something like that. Coventry are much better than what Leicester are. I know Leicester fans don't want to hear this. Coventry is so much better than what you are. It's untrue. I think Leicester fans could admit that anyway. Stoke away don't lose many. They don't concede many, full stop. Leicester at home are not winning anywhere near enough games. They won the first 2, but they've not won in the last 5 after not scoring enough goals. I sit here and think that this is going to be the same type of game as Stoke Coventry was. I think they'll both maybe set up for a bit of a draw. Leicester have got to go for it a little bit more, which makes me think that Stoke could pick them apart a little bit on counter-attack because they've got some pace, Stoke, in that side. But Leicester, I don't think Leicester could break Stoke down because of the defensive structure that they've got anyway. But with Johansson in there, I'm just not expecting goals, really. In a lot of games, I'm expecting something spectacular for Stoke to concede. Leicester have got that in locker. We've seen it a lot of games this season where they'll get out edge at box and just score a scream and put it in top bins. I think it'll take something like that for him to score against Stoke. I'm going to give Stoke a goal because I just think Leicester could leave him a bit open, shoving too many men forwards, needing wins. So I think I'll give Stoke 1. It's if I see a Leicester screamer from edge at box to give him a draw. And with manner how this video is going, I'm just going to give him it anyway. Because I've had that many draws, I might as well carry on going. Leicester 1, Stoke 1. And it'd be a really good point for both sides, I would say. Oxford and Borough. This is... Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. Again, Middlesbrough not got a manager at the minute. Rob Edwards is like, packed his bags, he's off to Wolves, hasn't he? I'm not going to lie, I've sat here for a good 20 seconds just trying to think of anything that I could pick out here. Middlesbrough, I was just starting to think they'd slide away anyway with Robert. Slide away. I was thinking that they'd drop off a bit. I don't have a tune for that one. And the fact that he's gone, I've said this so many times in so many different places, and I'm just not going to mention it again. But I really don't think it's that big of a deal than losing Rob Edwards. I just think, like, the first game after he'd left, obviously, they had the home aspect. The crowd were going to be bang up for it. So Rob Edwards had left. So they're always going to be up for something like that. Atmosphere were good. They take billions everywhere, Middlesbrough anyway, away. So I'm not like saying that the atmosphere is not going to be good from an away perspective. But when you've only got a little corner compared to a full dome, like proper trapping you in, I think Oxford will be bang up for something like this. Like, obviously, they need more wins, Oxford. You're looking at Sheffield United and Norwich below. We're just teams that you expect to finish above Oxford naturally. I think they need some wins soon, and you've got to pick them up at home. Going up against a manager, currently a managerless Middlesbrough, is a really good chance for him to get a win. I'll tell you what, they're half decent away at West Brom and all, and I think they were quite unlucky. West Brom were better side, yes, but I think Oxford, for first hour, they just couldn't deal with depth that like somebody like West Brom's got and home aspect and all that jazz. I think they might get something here though. I'm not getting. I know what you're thinking. It's not going to be a 1-1. I'm actually going to give Oxford a win. I think Middlesbrough will be fine, and I think long-term they'll be better off without Edwards. I truly do. They've had a really good start, but the last 5, they were tailing off big time. I think once they've got a manager in, whoever it ends up being, maybe it's a Gerrard way, Eddie Vivius is number 2 or something, who knows? But I think they need to get a manager in before they can start going away to teams and getting wins, especially against someone like Gary Rowett and the scrappiness that he can provide you with. So I'll go Oxford 1, Middlesbrough 0. But this is not a long-term worry for Middlesbrough. I think they'll be fine. Pompey Millwall, Copper's Paradise. This could be something. This could really be something. Portsmouth are toss, mate. Like, really, really crap. Losing loads of games, conceding loads of goals. None of the forwards are really pulling any trees up, apart from Murphy. He's still been doing all right. But Chaplin's not done anything since he's come in. Bishop's been shit this season so far. Going up against the Millwall... Well, just going up against Millwall, you know what you're going to get, don't you? But also they can play now as well. That's a worry for a lot of teams. Millwall can do whatever you want. Well, whatever you don't want, almost, Millwall can do. You want to play lumping football? 6'8" defenders. 3 of them. Stood at centre-back. Good luck. You try and put ball into back, noggin, 60-yard header clearance. But then at the same time, if somebody's trying to, like, if you get a Leicester or a Middlesbrough or, like, I don't know, a Coventry, someone that wants to, like, play through you a little bit, Millwall can play that game and all now. I just think Millwall are a really good side. They look equipped for anything that can come up against them, really. Away, they're a little bit hot and cold. They started really good, but they're a little bit hot and cold more recently. They got slapped up, obviously, against Birmingham before international break. But Pompey... equally as crap at home. A side that was so good last year at home, I've just completely fallen off wagon and they look crap now. Maybe this is my bias coming into it, but I'm going to go Portsmouth 0, Millwall 1. I think when backs against the wall, and it's going to be a really hostile environment, this. Like, it'd be a really good game. I'd love to go to this neutral, but it's a right cracking atmosphere. But I think this is just going to suit Millwall to the ground. I'll go Portsmouth 0, Millwall 1. I fancy him. QPR and all, it's a little bit dull, innit? Obviously, with the game that we've got coming up after this, because there's some big ones and all. And this is just a little bit dull, and it's not one that I'm fancying, to be honest. Like, obviously, they come off like a 0-0 QPR away at Sheffield United before international break. All have been really good, to be fair, and they're a really exciting team, and I love watching them. I think they'll get that. To be fair, I think there'll be goals in this. I'm going to go draw a Desmond, and we'll just get on to Big Dog last. Steel City, baby. I guess. One's in Hillsborough, barely in Sheffield, but still. We all know Wednesday crap. That just absolutely goes without saying. Wednesday are horrendous. They're going down. They might even finish on minus points. They've got 4 to recoup to finish on 0. I think they're going to go down as the worst championship side ever with the lowest points tally ever. I think that's almost a given, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. But this is not a game where Sheffield United are coming into it banging form. I think before the season started, Sheffield United had been licking the lips thinking, we're going to do double, because they did double on them last season. You think this is just a walking part of this. We're going to slap them up. That light work. But Sheffield United are crap. They're absolutely wank. I'll tell you what, it's a good job they've got Wilder in, because I think if they went into this with Ruben Sellers, I couldn't even imagine. I think they'd have been absolutely destroyed by the worst Wednesday team in history. I think they'd have destroyed Sheffield United if they went in with Ruben Sellers. Wilder has got to give them that togetherness aspect. And I think they could have really done with it being at home or at Bramall Lane this. Because they're going away to Hillsborough. That's going to be sold out. Obviously, they're in admin now. They're all like, they're living it up, aren't they? All these fans that have been hiding in woodwork for about 50 years since they got relegated from Prem. They're all coming back out now. We've been here forever, guys. So I do think the atmosphere is going to be good. Obviously, that goes without saying. We are doing a watch along for this, by the way, so I'll be live at 10 to 12. But I think Wednesday are going to be up for it properly. For 2 games all season, and it's this. Home and away. They're going to be bang up for a game like this. Because they know they're going down. They're just thinking, well, Sheffield United are third bottom at minute. There's a real chance here. I want to drag you down with us. And if they can take 6 points off Sheffield United and give 6 points to every else, then they're doing a really good job at trying to bring them down with them. Sheffield United, I think, are showing a bit more in recent games. They were all right against QPR. They just couldn't fight net. But they're nothing front of goal. And I think against Wednesday away, I don't think they're going to get loads of chances anyway. Sheffield United were miles better last season. Miles and miles better. Goes without saying. I think Wednesday were better last season as well, obviously. But Sheffield United still struggled to create loads away at Wednesday last season. I watched game. It weren't one of loads of quality. And games like this aren't. But I back Wednesday. I can't believe I'm saying it. I think Wednesday are definitely going to get something here. I think they might win. Oh, God. I don't even know what I want here. Can you hope both teams lose? I feel like I know Wednesday are going down anyway. This might be the first game in recorded history that I want Wednesday to win. Just to see Sheffield United really start sweating. And I'm getting a bit. I'm going to go Wednesday 2, Sheffield United 1. They're both toss, but the home aspect and the fact that Wednesday almost know the beating. There's no expectation on Wednesday here. All the pressure's on Sheffield United. You're thinking, you're already bottom 3. Wilder's come back and it's not sunshine and rainbow as soon as he's come back. And you're going up against a side that's just hell-bent on making you get relegated with him. This is only going one way, I'm afraid, in my brain, and that is Wednesday win. I'll go 2-1 to them pig bastards. But that's that. Absolute pleasure. Love you all. In case, make sure you like, subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I apologise again for the temporary setup, but everything will be changed soon, and you'll be seeing something incredible. I'm telling you right now. Thank you as always. Love you all. In case, and I'll see you in a bit. Goodbye.
I say I'm a man. Yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.